Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the privacy and the security editions. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to catch the show, go ahead and find us on over there. Let's go ahead and get jumping right on in. First, we have a brief update. We talked about this before, Maine having a very strong state facial recognition ban. And so what they are doing here is this thing passed way beyond a governor veto, so the governor doesn't even have to sign it into law. It just automatically pops into effect October 1st, 2021. This is going to prevent police or any other government agency from utilizing facial recognition. However, it does not prevent private companies from doing it. It also, though, doesn't interfere with the federal. So the police can ask the FBI or the Maine Bureau of Motor Vehicles to run facial ID searches. But the caveat to this is that all of those searches, they can't have a gag order on the search. And if somebody was inappropriately searched, then they can take some very serious consequences. I thought they mentioned exactly what they were. But it allows the citizens the ability to sue the state if they've been unlawfully targeted by facial recognition, which was notably absent from Washington's regulation, or comparing Washington's. Overall, Maine's facial recognition policy seems to be one of the best. And so this is good. It doesn't prevent any and all access. Obviously, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and the FBI can still do this, but the police specifically are excluded from doing this. And again, it goes into effect in October. Governor doesn't even have to sign it. It's veto proof. And so this is going to go into effect. So very good up there in Maine, preventing any facial recognition. Next, Google is delaying the FLoC rollout. Apparently, all of the chickens that wanted thinking about this have all flown the coop. Everybody who is not directly involved in the advertising market has something against this. I mean, even companies that you wouldn't imagine, like Microsoft is like, no, bro, this is too invasive for us. When Microsoft is going, this is too invasive for us, guys, it's like, this is too invasive. I mean, pretty soon Microsoft's going to be, no, the CIA is a little bit too invasive. You can't, no more reading Tucker's emails, okay? I mean, really, guys. So because of all this, and they're like, well, you know, we heard back a little bit, and we got to figure out how to get this in here. So they're delaying the rollout only 2 more years, and they're saying that, well, we just have to figure out how to roll it out. It's that whole thing like, you know, what do you think about this? I think you should burn it with fire. That's what I think. No, there's nothing. I think cPanel just rolled out a new glass theme. I looked at it real quick, and I switched back to the old one really quick, and they're like, well, what'd you think of it? Like, what can we do to improve better? I said, nothing. You need to burn the thing and start over. It sucks. All right, and literally, it's just a list of crap. Like, this is not a theme. This is Craigslist, 1990 text sites. All right. So anyway, here's the FLoC servers. Of course, Google's idea here was to, since everybody's blocking cookies anyway, you have your ad trackers. This utilizes a different methodology, which is going to place everybody into, you know, thousands of little groups and then sell blocks of groups to advertisers. The advertisers were kind of on board for this because it allows you to have a lot of information, but like nobody else was into it. So Google's like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and push that off a little bit. EFF came against it, Brave, Vivaldi, DuckDuckGo. I mean, even Wokezilla, that would be Mozilla, was like, no, bro, we're going to disable that in our browser too. So score some, finally Firefox gets some points in the last half a decade. So there we are, guys, there we are. So there's your FLoC. All of the chickens have flown the coop. So the Linux Foundation is working to improve voice recognition ethics. The thing that struck me most about this is the Linux Foundation also is collecting donations, which for a time being, they have since changed it, probably because people like me and others kept on pointing this out. For a long period of time, they actually listed on their page, any donations are used to fund diversity programs. I have a hard time with the Linux Foundation talking about voice recognition ethics, collecting money from the Linux Foundation to support diversity programs. It's just, there's a place for diversity programs. The Linux kernel's probably not it. Well, I don't care if the team working on my Linux kernel is diverse. I care if the team working on my Linux kernel knows what the hell they're doing. Because Linux runs the world, okay? This is why meritocracy is good. This is why Martin Luther King Jr. said that I dream of a country where people are not judged by the color of their skin, but the quality of their character. Okay? Really, guys. Really. So anyway, back to the story off of the Linux Foundation. And that wording was removed. You have to go check out the Internet Archive. You can find it. It was there for a good few years. But what they're looking at it saying, there's all these things like Alexa and Hey Google and all these things coming out. And they're like, yeah, we don't really want to trust Alexa. So we're going to work on better voice recognition. And in their voice recognition, they're calling out specifically improving trust, choice, inclusivity, and openness in voice recognition technology. Once again, we're talking inclusiveness. Really, inclusiveness. Let's think about this for a second. Have you ever heard an Alexa say, no, sir, I'm not ordering you that. You're not the right skin color? What the hell are they talking about? This is just an example of the Linux Foundation going insane. But anyway, back to this. This is called OVN. What's that stand for? I think it's like Open Voice. Where's it? Open Voice Network. So they wanted, though, to do this open source platform. And hey, that's cool. Good open source voice recognition stuff. We do need this. Stated goals notwithstanding. So similar to Amazon's voice interoperability, it's going to primarily focus on ethics. Although Amazon's effort does touch on user choice and freedom, its primary goal is considerably narrow than OVN's. So they're saying the association will begin by standards development, so establishing standards for voice recognition, research and recommendations toward the global standards that will enable user choice, inclusivity, and trust. Second, industry value and awareness, identification and sharing of conversational AI. I do not want conversational AI. If you would like to hear me swear fastest, then you just have to put me in front of one of those things where I have to call and it's like, in a few words, tell me what you want. I want to talk to a person. That's why I called on the phone, you moron. So, we do not need conversational AI. Here's the thing. Push a button, let me talk to a person. So identification and sharing of conversational AI best practices that are both horizontal and specific to vertical industry, serving as a source of insight and value for voice assistants. And third, advocacy. Here we are again. Advocacy, working with and through existing industrial associations on relevant regulatory and legislative issues, including those of data privacy. You want to work on data privacy? I am all in your corner. You want to use advocacy to push for the things Linux Foundation has been pushing for the last couple years? Yeah, I'm going to check out of this. Maybe I just don't want any voice recognition at all. I'm just a Luddite. So anyway, you can read a little bit more about this. This is a split bag for me. We definitely need more open services for these types of things. Absolutely. But we don't need the Linux Foundation with its weird political leanings as of late come in. It's the Linux Foundation. They should be focusing on the Linux kernel, not on all of the other political things surrounding around it. And on to our final story for today from ABC News. U.S. agency. Now, this is nothing voted into law. This is just these bureaucrats being put into office and they're just changing policies and forcing people to do things, which I believe that this is going to get challenged and they will probably lose. And honestly, about everything this administration has done for the last, we up to 150-ish days or so, nearly everything has been tossed out in courts. It's literally a racist administration. It's insane. Go back and look at some of this stuff. It's really neat following some of the lawsuits that have come out. But anyway, this is not a lawmakers did it. This is just a U.S. agency just said, hey, you're going to do this. It's just going to take somebody to push back. So the agency orders automated vehicle makers to report crashes. You say, well, what's so wrong with that? Well, because at some point in time, it's going to move beyond that. In fact, buried in this article is even a statement, We even want information on near crashes. Why? So that the government can be your mommy and daddy, your little nanny state babysitter, and figure out ways to make your vehicle safer. The government is incompetent. The government cannot wipe its butt with its own hands. I mean, come on, guys. This is insane. So the U.S. government Highway Safety Agency has ordered automakers to report any crashes involving fully autonomous vehicles or partially automated driver assist systems. This is pretty much cruise control or above. All right. Maybe one step above cruise control. Tuesday, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration indicates the agency is taking a tougher stance on automated vehicle safety than in the past. It has been reluctant to issue any regulations of new technology for fear of hampering adoption of potentially life-saving systems. Let's see. Quote, by mandating crash reporting, the agency will have access to critical data that will help quickly... Yeah, the government is still relying on SMS text messages to quickly identify safety issues that could emerge in these automated systems. The agency said it will look for potential safety defects and information could cause it to send out crash investigation teams or open a defect investigation. It comes after the NHTSA has dispatched special investigation teams in 31 crashes involving partially automated driver assist programs since June of 15. Those were mostly Tesla. Such systems can keep a vehicle centered in its lane and a safe distance from other vehicles in front of it, unless it's a Tesla and it accelerates into the back of parked police cars. Of those crashes, 25 involved Tesla's autopilot system, in which 10 deaths were reported. So they kind of want this information, but they also want near crashes. I'm not sure if this is the paragraph in it, but this is Jason Levine, Executive Director for Nonprofit Center for Auto Safety, which is an advocacy group, said the crash reporting is a welcome first step. No, Jason. This is not. This is the welcome slippery slope into the government wanting everything. Collecting crash data and hopefully data from crashes which were avoided can help serve a variety of purposes, from enforcing current laws to ensuring safety of consumers, as well as paving the way for reasonable regulations to encourage the deployment of safe advanced vehicle technology. Here's a good regulation. Why don't you keep your self-driving cars off the road for a while? Yeah, I know. A little controversial. But anyway, this is that first step. They are just coming in. No lawmakers got involved. No laws were passed. It's just, hey, you guys, you're going to start giving us your data. At what point in time does the data in your car? We need to see the data on what the people were doing. We want to see your camera data. Don't forget, Subaru is just putting forward-facing cameras to look at you the whole time. It will alert somebody else at Subaru if it thinks you're not paying attention to the road. If you want to buy a Subaru right now, you need a checkup from the neck up. That's insane. And so this is kind of crazy. Basically, the government wants your car to automatically report data, starting with crashes, and then it's going to go back. Because you can see that the government they don't give back. They take and then they take more. So there it is. Your car may indeed be snitching on you to Big Brother. Big Brother, he's watching. So if you want to help support the channel, we have a series of affiliates. A2 Hosting is who I would recommend for small-scale web hosting. You can host your own private emails over here, basic websites, few different websites, a lot of different options. Using my affiliate code at tlm.li/A2H will give you some good discounts as well, and that will help support the channel. You can get some basic startup shared hosting as little as $2 a month on up to full dedicated servers, $100 a month, which are all pretty good prices. So anyway, you can go ahead and use my affiliate link there. That will help support the channel, and you can go ahead and get your web hosting or even your private email going. tlm.li/A2H. Now let's have a look at some security news. So first up in security, we are looking at Dell. There was one of the problems with Dell, and I've liked Dell's hardware. I've talked about it. My liking went down a notch because they use a weird proprietary power cable that actually has DRM in it. You can disable the computer's need for it, but it took me a little while to figure that out as I was building a custom power supply for the mobile office for a Dell computer. And it's like, okay, this is a little annoying. And fortunately, the new one, it was actually already disabled. My older computer, it was not disabled. And so I actually had to go in there and disable it. And that was kind of annoying, honestly. And with that, though, Dell, I don't know. Well, one of the other things that they do is they have this firmware updater installed. This is particularly if you're running Dell on a running Windows on a Dell computer. They have their support assist application, which can automatically install software. Well, the problem is that there was a vulnerability in the recovery update and the firmware update that would automatically install a backdoor into your Dell machine. Well, that's exciting. 129 Dell models, consumer and business laptops, desktops, and tablets, including devices protected by Secure Boot and Dell Secure Cord PCs. Basically, this was a problem where the Dell signing key could be spoofed, and then when somebody went out to get the update, it would redirect the traffic to a different site and install malware instead. Now, those of us utilizing Dell computers with Linux are not necessarily impacted by this because this is a Windows support assist application that is designed to update the BIOS from the Windows operating system. And so if you are needing to update the BIOS to do this, you want to manually do it, make sure that you verify all of the downloads are coming directly from where you think they should be coming to and manually patch it. Do not use the auto updates on anything Dell related until this is resolved. There were two applications, Support Assist and BIOS Connect. So these are the tools that Dell has graciously given us, which are basically full of backdoors. So there are a lot of other details inside of this. We're not going to cover anything else there, but it's definitely worth the read if you run Dell on a regular basis. And I'll do a video later about how I built that power supply because it's kind of cool. NFC flaws let researchers hack an ATM by waving a phone at it. These, like, everything's going this contactless. I had to get a new debit card for my bank. I go, we gave you contactless card stuff. I said, give me one without because I don't carry these. Sorry. If you do have to carry one, if it's got this little Wi-Fi symbol on your credit card or debit card, you better be wrapping that card in aluminum foil or having some other form of Faraday protection, because with about $100 in parts on a Saturday afternoon, people can build a little Raspberry Pi device, just get really close, tap people's wallets on them walking through a busy street. You can collect everybody's credit card numbers. Contactless payment is the stupidest, most moronic thing ever, and banks need to stop doing it. But the same technology which cell phones have, which is the NFC, I always disable it on my phones. Ooh, I'm going to pay with my smartphone. Welcome to life, you lemming. We're going to fall off a cliff now. Well, if Joey told you to jump off a bridge, remember your parents used to say that. If you're older, you do. If you're younger, you're like, follow Joey off the bridge. So, but the NFC flaws actually let researchers hack an ATM simply by getting the phone near it with NFC on and just going, this is not the ATM you're looking for. You will give all your money to me. And they were able to come in here and do fun things like add rootkits and basically install skimmers that would report home, PIN numbers, card numbers, all sorts of fun stuff they did with this, with the vending machines. Now, some of the vending machines are protected against this. Some of them are not. And so with that, it's definitely something to keep in mind that this type of technology they keep on pushing, the criminals work faster than the security teams do very oftentimes. And so this is bad technology. You should not be using this on your phones. You should not be carrying around credit cards, debit cards with this and fight with your bank and be like, you know what? Sorry, I'm not using your card. Cancel it. Because, no. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not using a card that I don't have to manually swipe. It is too easy to steal data off it. But it has to be within 2 inches. Yeah, I can get within 2 inches of your wallet, I promise you. I can pick your pocket without you even knowing. Problematic. Okay, let's just accept the cookies because this thing wipes all cookies anyway. Whoa, it's blocking all the cookies now. So Microsoft signed some malware. Way to go, Microsoft. Way to go. This is the NetFilter rootkit. What it was doing is it was detecting certain websites and redirecting their IPs to alternative sites. And it had a Microsoft signing key, which means at some point in time, this malware got a signing key from Microsoft. So it was detected as Microsoft as being a full-fledged legitimate application that was doing exactly what it was supposed to do. And this guy went through, they decoded all this, they looked at what was going on. He basically found a series of IP addresses where this is redirecting a whole lot of common IP addresses to Chinese versions instead. And it was all signed by Microsoft. They're like, well, we don't know what's happened. We're looking into it right now. Yeah, the bottom line is, yeah, Microsoft, they want us all to use their lockdown systems to keep us all safe and secure. Good luck. Good luck with that. And finally, if you are a Steam user, know that malware is hiding inside of some Steam profile pictures. The photo itself is not the malware, it is the XIM data that is within it. And to make it extra sneaky and to get around any type of antivirus, the data itself does not actually, it's not the code. It's if you pull this guy off and look at it a certain way, it will go ahead and go online and start doing its thing. So they're calling it Steam Hide malware. It hides within Steam profile picture metadata. And what it's going to do is the property tag ICC profile value of an image is changed to encrypt and hide the malware, which normally stores information to help printers detect the color of an image. So you go to print the thing off and it's going to install malware. How exciting. The value is part of the XF data that exists in an image to help you identify camera used and other information. And the profile picture of the image is not the malware, but is the container for the malware. So if you're using Steam or have downloaded or accessed an image from Steam, this does not affect your computer. So the malware is inactive until it is decrypted by a separate malware downloader. So you have the picture, and it can be sitting back there, by the way, and just stored in your computer cache. And then you get some other backdoor, and then that backdoor knows to scan this directory, and then it's going to find the data and then do whatever the instructions in this data happens to be. So very interesting. Image or the profile picture helps distribute it. And then if you find some information about how to get around it, fairly harmless for most people, as they say, but oh boy, if you get it, there you go. So Steam now has some malware, hence the steamy malware. Well, if you want to help support the channel, we do have a Patreon page. This does support a series of channels that I do. We have the Linux and we have the Christian ones, are the two active ones. We will do some more writing stuff later on down the road. We have a new channel coming up down the road as well. And so you can jump on over on Patreon, which is patreon.com/TOMM. Join us over there. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.